I was hired at 27.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 27 all the way till probably 34.
Mm-hmm.
I was Olympic lifting a lot. Well, Cena has this one ton club at Hard Knocks. So it's like you want to get those weights for your front squat, your snatch to be on like his wall.
Did you get them?
I had the record for front squat, but I never got to the 1 ton club.
It's a lot of...
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What was it like?
But a
Clean,
bunch of the
snatch,
guys are.
back
yeah.
and front squat. Like that's
Yep.
a long
Yeah.
way to get there.
I
Yeah.
didn't get that. But I had the record for front squat for the women.
We're back with Strong Talk, and today we have... So I'm a very big wrestling fan, which means I'm a very big fan of...
I'll have to quiz you.
Don't put me on the spot
Just
like
kidding.
that. But I'm a big wrestling fan, and I'm a very big fan of your dad and also you. We
Who's
have
that?
Ric Flair. I wanted to say your name first, but Ric Flair. Charlotte Flair, you are a 13-time, and if I get the resume wrong, blame Wikipedia. You're a 13-time WWE champion and the current women's tag team champion, and just somebody who's like super strong. And I think what we want to dive into with you today is, one, I want to get the inside scoop on everything WWE, because of course we do. And two, you came back from a really rough knee injury a couple of years ago. So many guys have injuries. We really want to dive into the idea of like how you come back from an injury, both mentally and physically. But I kind of want to start with just, I think people have to understand that WWE is not fake, right? Like there's still people who think that on Instagram anytime we post anything about WWE. Like how can we help people understand what really takes place and how physical it is and what the real of WWE is?
Oh, that's a loaded question. It is very much real to me, and to all the athletes. Recently, now that we are on Netflix, we have a show called WWE Unreal, which does a fantastic job of showing really what the performer goes through, physically and mentally. But it's really hard to tell someone, you know, wrestling's real, or what it's like, or what it feels like, just because when you watch it, we make it look so easy. But like every time you see someone landing on their back, you feel that. Every time you see someone hitting the ropes, you feel that. Like even though it looks sometimes even choreographed, like you feel every second of that impact or the strike, or even emotionally, the emotions of going through the match from the beginning to the end.
Have you ever left a match and not been in some form of pain?
Well, I love it. I think that,
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy the physical aspect of it and the intensity. And I know this sounds strange, but like, I like getting hit. Like I like the battle or the dance, that we create inside the ring. I love it.
What's like the schedule like? Because it's also intense. Like NFL guys play once a week and then they can take 6 days to recover. And that's hard, right? But you guys have 2 shows a week, and you were telling me before there have been periods where it's even more intense than that.
Oh yeah,
too.
sometimes we have like 4 or 5 shows a week. It just depends on if we're in the States or overseas. But I also think the added layer to that is we aren't in our own beds. And then just fly out to one game. We're flying out to whatever city that first show is, and then flying to the next city or driving to the next city. So it's the constant travel that I think is almost more demanding than the actual 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes inside the ring. And also, what are you doing in between? Are you prioritizing sleep? Are you prioritizing rehab, stretching? What does your diet look like? You know, sometimes we sit at the airport for 7 hours and you're like, well, that airport bar looks entertaining, but like then you're like, oh, I'm on TV tomorrow. So it's just, you know, time management. But the stress of travel on our bodies as well. I think that's hard.
I'm curious what you prioritize. Like you know, you mentioned sleep, diet. There's training, obviously, too.
Yeah.
But what do you prioritize? How do you make it work?
I think the pressure of just being my dad's kid and always wanting to be at the top of my game, and even though I've had an incredible career, and some would say arguably like one of the greatest female wrestlers, it's still not enough to me where I'm like, oh, I can get better, I can get stronger, I can get faster. And kind of being in this unknown territory where I've been on the main roster now for 10 years. You know, women didn't have careers like that years ago. So it's still me wanting to be at the top of my game, even though I have nothing to prove, but feeling like I have everything to prove. So whether it's training, whether it's sleep, whether it's new gears, whether it's looking my best, I never want to slip it on any one of those, because I feel like that's what sets me apart from everyone.
I'm kind of curious, like, what's more challenging, being Ric Flair's daughter in professional wrestling or being a woman in professional wrestling?
It's so different.
Do you think it's more challenging as a female in professional wrestling than the men?
It's not necessarily more challenging, because we've come so far, and now we're equal. We're not just divas, we're superstars. We've main evented Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, storylines, merch, TV segments. Yeah, it comes and goes, but it's pretty much equal for the most part. But being the kid of someone who's like arguably one of the greatest of all time, and being a woman, I just think it's like just that one added pressure.
Absolutely.
Like, no matter what I do, you're still like, your last name is still Flair.
Right.
So I think that's where I'm kind of curious too. I think everybody,
like, it's hard to look past that.
Did Rick kind of help you? How did growing up Flair, I guess, influence?
No. His he'd be like, why are you going to bed? Come to the bar.
Yeah.
But that worked for him.
Yeah.
He actually didn't influence me. My little brother always wanted to be my dad. And after college, or I graduated college and he wasn't in school at the time, I thought by getting into professional wrestling, I could help him get sober, and he could follow his dream of being just like my dad and Dusty Rhodes. So in Miami, 2012, April, the Four Horsemen were inducted into the Hall of Fame. And my brother and I were there sitting at dinner with my dad.
Who are the Four Horsemen? I should know this, but I don't.
And you're a wrestling fan?
Taking my WWE card back.
It doesn't matter. It's a famous male stable that my dad was a part of. And that part doesn't matter. But if you're a wrestling fan and you know the Four Horsemen, you're like, oh, that's cool. The producer, I think my dad and the producer were trying to kind of get a response out of my brother by looking at me at dinner and being like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was kind of like, I don't know. But my brother was kind of like, wait, they're overlooking me and not going to give me the job. They're going to give my sister the job. But it really didn't get that response out of Reed, where he was like, oh my gosh, you got to do this. My nickname was Winky. He's like, oh, you got to do this, Winky. You'd be great at it. So I reported to the developmental system for WWE 3 months later, not knowing what I was getting into. So thinking that if I got in, that it would get my brother sober and he would meet me down in Tampa, and he ended up dying like 8 months later. So then I just took his dream, his journey, everything he wanted to be, and I turned it into this career where like I spent so much time trying to save his life, but ultimately he saved mine, which is like the irony of it all. Wow. And he never got to see me wrestle.
One thing we talk about a lot on here is just the idea that training for sport is very, very unique, and it's different from what most guys think about when they go into the gym. They think about, you know, bodybuilding lifts, they want to build their biceps, they want abs, right? You came from an athletic background, and then you kind of shift into WWE, and I'm wondering, like, how did you think about and approach training in terms of the exercises, in terms of the qualities you were really trying to develop? It wasn't, I mean, it was building muscle, but it was more than that, right?
So when I first started wrestling, I think the biggest takeaway was the in-ring conditioning is so different than any kind of conditioning. Like, you just can't get on a treadmill or a Stairmaster and think that you can mimic the cardio or the wind that it takes. So for me, the training, when I first started, John Cena has a place called Hard Knocks in Tampa that a lot of the talent would go to, and I continued to go to when I debuted on the main roster. And it was all focused on Olympic lifts. And that got me really, really strong the first probably 4 or 5 years of my career. And then I stopped going because having to commute from Orlando to Tampa just got too taxing. But that was just getting me strong for what I was doing in the ring and making me more durable, but not necessarily making me a better wrestler or making me a better character. But it gave me the confidence to know that I could do the things that would set me apart from the other women. Or if a guy was if anyone was watching me wrestle, you would go, "Oh, she's a great wrestler," not, "Oh, she's just a great wrestler because she's oh, she's good for a girl." No, she's just good.
Yeah.
And that, I think, helped with that aspect of it. But now what I focus on obviously more is, how do my biceps look? Do I have abs? The constant battle between like, okay, I really want to grow my legs and my glutes, but then I lose my abs, but I want abs on TV, and like finding that balance. And I not struggle, but I'd rather be like super lean all the time, but not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily like, I don't have the size that I did when I first started. I'm like 35 pounds lighter.
What do you weigh now?
Maybe 40.
Yeah.
Pat, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, can you talk a little bit about just the balance between athleticism and kind of like Olympic lifting, and what it gives an athlete? Because I feel like it's something we can all do when we're younger, right?
Yeah, no, the foundation was incredible
right?
for me.
When you're older, you kind of don't want to do that as much, right?
Well, I'm from the same college as John Cena, Springfield College, and like that background, like when he was there, he was in a serious Olympic lifting time period, and he was a great lifter. He still is. He's an unbelievable lifter in terms of his ability to squat, clean, snatch, everything. I mean, the guy's amazing with that. So I think they're great lifts overall. They provide a certain stimulus that almost nothing else can, but they're not the end all be all either. And when it comes to athletic development, I try to break everything down into categories, and I just have like running, jumping, throwing, changing direction as the primary things of when I think of athletics, that's how you demonstrate it. And all of those things can be done at different speeds and with different loading. So like running isn't just like, jogging. It could be pushing a sled really fast, or it could be carrying things like a loaded carry, a yoke, a farmer's walk. Triple extension is Olympic lifting, but it could also be jumping, plyometric stuff, reactive drills. So, and I think you have a volleyball background. Is that correct? And
volleyball and gymnastics, yeah.
Okay, that's a really good combo, I feel like, for
it helped
getting
a lot.
Into, because volleyball, you have to get up, get down, you're on the ground.
Explosiveness,
you have to be
plyos.
So there's like, I would say, a spectrum of abilities that happen at different speeds with different levels of physical contact with other individuals. And like, there's probably a ubiquitousness to athleticism, but then once you're starting to get into a specific realm, now you have to really dive into that area. And it's just way more specific than what anybody could think. And you were reminding me, I used to do mixed martial arts. And I remember there were some times of the year where we would focus on grappling, and other times of the year we would focus on kickboxing. And then there were the other parts of the year where we would focus on mixed martial arts. And I felt like, hey, I could be in great grappling shape, and that wouldn't necessarily help for kickboxing. And then I could be in great kickboxing shape. It wouldn't necessarily help for grappling. I could be in great shape for both, but it wouldn't necessarily help for mixed martial arts. Like, I had to actually do that to be able to handle that specific thing. So, I could really relate to what you were talking about with that.
Well, it was like when I came back from my knee injury, I really just needed functional training.
Yeah.
And that's so now it's a mixture of functional and bodybuilding.
How do you define functional training? Because I think it's a really buzzy term in fitness, but
So, instead of sprinting,
yeah,
the pushing the sled or pulling it
yeah,
for my VMO, like if you put the straps on and you're pulling the sled backwards to get really that extension.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like a term for that.
pulling a sled, you know,
pulling
like-
a sled, box jumps,
yeah,
or landing the jump, or one-legged hops. I mean, all just to get the balance and ankle. I didn't realize that so much of knee recovery was also ankle mobility.
yeah,
And I have really loose ankles, which is really good because I think you're less likely to get injured, but you also have to make sure you still have and I could be wrong saying that, but I feel like I could roll my ankle easily, but it's like I'm fine the next day. But you need that ankle stability for strong knees. So focusing on those tedious exercises as well that I never did PT a day in my life until 10 years later. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do PT.
So
Like that's
you're taking this discussion exactly kind of where we want to go to the knee injury.
oh
was
like
what,
but it
2 years
functional
ago?
like
Yeah.
ropes, sled, farmer's walk, or is that the kettlebell holding over your shoulder?
I mean, it was that
Can be.
waiters
The weight-
carriers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's like different names for different things.
Squatting with bands.
Yeah.
Like the squat rack, but you put bands on either side, just not the Smith machine or regular squat, just adding a different kind of resistance. But maybe I'll deadlift lighter but go into a box jump after. It's just
So is it a lot more back in your 20s when you were kind of doing more of the Olympic lifts? It was a lot more of these.
so
big
I didn't
motions.
start
Yeah.
wrestling till I was 28.
Oh wow.
That's another
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Where all these girls now are starting at like 2019. I started. So like you can be anything you want to be at any time in your life.
When did you get into the Olympic lifts? Was that was like 28, 29, 30 then, right?
Well, wait. So I was hired at 27. So yeah, 27 all the way till probably 34. I was Olympic lifting a lot. Well, Cena has this one ton club at Hard Knocks. So it's like you want to get those weights for your front squat, your snatch to be on like his wall.
Did you get them?
I had the record for front squat, but I never got to the 1 ton club.
It's a lot of.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What was it like?
But a
Clean,
bunch of the
snatch,
guys are
back
yeah.
and front squat. Like that's
Yeah.
a long
Yeah.
way to get there.
I
yeah.
didn't get that, but I had the record for front squat for the women.
What are your high numbers on everything? Do you remember them?
At one point, I had a good bench. I don't have a bench press at all anymore. I don't. What was my heaviest deadlift? I don't know, like
3.
263,
I bet you could pull 3.
3.
Yeah.
Then, not now. I couldn't now.
So it's interesting.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I did lose, like, aesthetically, I look stronger, I think, but that's what people don't realize. Like, just because you look ripped doesn't mean you're stronger or more athletic, or that's all manipulated through diet, I feel like. That's been my biggest change.
I think it's interesting though, because you're not weight room strong, right? But obviously you're kind of like, and this is something I'm really fascinated by too, and I love your opinion on it too, Pat. Like the difference between like strong, right, and strong enough. Like you're strong enough that you get in the ring, and I'm not slower. I'm not less agile. I still have my flexibility. Yeah.
I'm not picking up the girls as much as I was, but also like my style is a little different. Like a fan would not watch me wrestle and go, "Oh, she's wrestling different from then to now." I just know because it's like my job and what I love, and like, oh, I don't do that move as much anymore. But they're not going, "Oh, she hasn't done that move," because I hit my signature stuff all the time.